Right now, somewhere near you, your phone is face down on a table. You told yourself you wouldn't check it. 10 minutes pass. You check it anyway. You tell yourself it's about the notifications. It isn't. The real answer is far stranger, and it has almost nothing to do with the app you just opened. Your brain was not built for phones. It was built for forests. It was built for rivers, for tall grass, for places where food was hidden, and danger was hidden too. And somewhere in that old world, your brain learned a rule that is never unlearned. Not knowing what comes next is more powerful than knowing. Think about that for a second. Why would uncertainty feel good? To understand it, you have to go back roughly 2 million years to a version of you that spent most of its waking hours foraging. Not eating. Foraging. Walking, digging, searching, turning over rocks and leaves, most of the time finding nothing. Occasionally finding something extraordinary. A bush heavy with fruit, a nest full of eggs, a carcass no one else had found yet. Here's the strange part. The moment of finding wasn't what shaped your brain the most. The searching was. Neuroscientist Wolfram Schultz spent years recording the activity of dopamine neurons in the brains of primates. He expected dopamine to spike when a reward arrived. Juice in the mouth, food in the hand. That did happen. But something else happened first, and it happened more. Dopamine spiked hardest during the anticipation, during the reaching, during the not yet knowing. Your brain, it turns out, is not a reward machine. It's a prediction machine. And prediction machines get their biggest chemical payoff from uncertainty, not from certainty. This is where things get uncomfortable because this exact mechanism has a name in modern psychology, and it was discovered almost 100 years before smartphones existed. In the 1950s, behavioral scientist B.F. Skinner ran a series of experiments with pigeons and levers. Some pigeons got a food pellet every single time they pressed the lever. Predictable. Reliable. Those pigeons pressed the lever when they were hungry and stopped when they were full. Simple. Other pigeons got food only sometimes. Randomly, no pattern to it at all. Those pigeons didn't stop pressing. They pressed obsessively. They pressed even when they weren't hungry. They pressed long after the food stopped coming entirely, hoping the next press would be the one. Skinner called this variable ratio reinforcement. It is without question the most powerful behavioral reward pattern ever documented. Stronger than certainty. Stronger than guaranteed reward. Unpredictability itself became the addiction. Does that sound familiar yet? Every time you unlock your phone, you are the pigeon, and you are the forager standing at the same bush. Sometimes there's nothing. An empty feed, no messages, nothing new. Sometimes there's something small, and every so often, rarely, there's something enormous. A message from someone you've been waiting to hear from. News that changes your day. You don't know which one it will be before you look. That not knowing is the entire mechanism, and it was engineered on purpose. Anthropologist and researcher Natasha Schull spent over a decade studying slot machine design in Las Vegas, sitting with engineers watching how machines were built to create what the industry itself calls the zone, a state where a player isn't chasing money anymore, just chasing the next pull. What she found was not an accident of design. It was the deliberate, precise recreation of a variable reward loop built by people who understood exactly what Skinner's pigeons had shown decades earlier. The people who built the apps on your phone studied the exact same research. Infinite scroll has no natural stopping point, on purpose. The pull to refresh gesture mimics a slot machine lever, on purpose. Notifications arrive at irregular intervals instead of a predictable schedule, on purpose. Every part of it is tuned to the same ancient circuitry that once sent your ancestors out into tall grass looking for food they might not find. But here's the twist most explanations miss. Your phone did not create this hunger. Your phone found a hunger that was already there, sitting quietly for 2 million years, waiting for something to trigger it at this scale. Foraging theory, the branch of behavioral ecology that studies how animals search for food, describes something called an information foraging pattern. Your ancestors weren't just searching for berries, they were searching for information. Where did the herd move? Which valley had water this season? Who in the group knew something useful? Information was survival, and gathering it triggered the same dopamine anticipation as gathering food. Your brain, quite literally, cannot tell the difference between foraging for berries and foraging for updates. To your dopamine system, a notification and a nest of eggs are processed by strikingly similar circuitry. You are not weak for wanting to check your phone. You are neurologically doing exactly what kept your ancestors alive. Neuroscientist and researcher Robert Sapolsky has spent much of his career studying dopamine and stress, and one of his central findings is this. Dopamine is not really about pleasure at all. It is about the anticipation of pleasure, and that anticipation is strongest precisely when the outcome is uncertain. Certainty, according to his research, actually lowers the dopamine response. A guaranteed reward becomes boring to the brain almost immediately. An uncertain one never does. This explains something that feels almost paradoxical. You check your phone and find nothing interesting, and instead of learning your lesson, you check it again 10 minutes later. A predictable system would teach you to stop. An unpredictable one teaches you to keep trying. Your brain isn't malfunctioning when this happens. It's running software installed roughly 2 million years ago in an environment where giving up on the search too early could mean going hungry. So, what do you do with that? You can't uninstall 2 million years of evolution, but understanding the mechanism changes your relationship to it. The itch to check your phone isn't a character flaw. It isn't proof that you lack discipline. It's a foraging instinct. Misfiring in an environment engineered to exploit it more efficiently than any environment your ancestors ever faced. Real bushes ran out of berries. Your phone never runs out of anything. There is always one more scroll, one more possible reward, forever. Some researchers studying digital behavior now recommend deliberately reintroducing certainty. Turning off notifications so information no longer arrives at random intervals. Checking specific apps at scheduled times instead of impulsively. It sounds almost too simple, but it directly targets the mechanism Skinner identified decades ago. Remove the variability, and the compulsive pull weakens because certainty was never what your dopamine system wanted in the first place. Uncertainty was. There's something oddly humbling in all of this. The device in your pocket, built by some of the most sophisticated engineers alive, running on satellite signals and processors more powerful than anything that sent humans to the moon, is ultimately just a very well-designed berry bush. It works because it speaks a language your brain has understood since long before language itself existed. Right now, somewhere near you, your phone is face down on a table. You'll probably check it again soon, but this time you'll know the truth. It was never about the notification, it was always about the forest.